This conference will now be recorded.
शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। Namaste. Now we will take up the 23rd verse of Shri Vishnu Sahasranama and see the meanings of each of the Nama with the commentary of Shri Shankaracharya. The 23rd verse is Gurur Gurutamo Dhama Satya Satya Parakramaha Nimisho Nimishasragvi Vachaspatirudarathihi. The names in this verse are Guruhu, Gurutamaha, Dhama, Satyaha, Satyaparakramaha, Nimishaha, Animishaha, Sragvi, Vachaspati Rudarathihi. It can be split as Vachaspatihi, Udaradhihi. Two independent terms, Vachaspatihi and Udaradhihi, but it is considered to constitute one Nama. Now let's take up the meaning of each of these Namas. Guruhu. Sarva Vidyanam Upadeshtritvat Sarvesham Janakatvadva Guruhu. Being the teacher of all knowledge or being the father of all, he is Guru. Very interesting to note that the term Guru has been given two meanings. One is Sarva Vidyanam Upadeshtritvat. He is the one who gives the Upadesha, or he is the one who gives the teachings of all knowledge. In the previous verse, we saw the term Shasta. So he is the one who teaches the Shrutis. He is the one who gives the knowledge of the Smritis, the Dharma Shastra and all knowledge. And hence, being the teacher, being the one who enlightens all, he is considered as Guruhu. And Guruhu also refers to the father. Normally, the term in Sanskrita, Guru, also means the father. So, Guru is the teacher, Guru is also the father. Paramatman is the teacher because he is the source of all knowledge, and hence he is Guru. And being the cause of all our existence, being the creator, he is the Janaka, the father, and hence also he is Guru. So in Samskrita, convention, as per convention, usage of the convention of the word Guru, it means both the father and also the teacher. And being the creator of all, Paramatma is Guru, the father, and being the giver of knowledge of for all, he is Guru. The next term is Guru Tamaha. विरिञ्च्यादीनामपि ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकत्वात् Gurutamaha. Being the giver of knowledge of the Brahman to even Virinchi and others, he is greater than the Guru or a greater Guru. So, Guru is teacher and Guru Tama is a great teacher or the greatest teacher. So why is Paramatman stated as the greatest teacher or Guru Tama because he teaches even the creator and others. So Virinchi refers to the Brahman or the Chaturmukha Brahma, the four-faced creator. So even to that Virinchi or the creator, the Brahma Vidya, the knowledge of the Brahman is given by the Paramatman. And hence he is called as Guru Tama. Brahma, the four-faced creator, he gives knowledge to all, but he himself is taught by the Paramatman, and hence Paramatman is described as Guru Tama. In the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, reference to this is found Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam. So the one in the ancient times, in old times, who created the creator, the Chaturmukha Brahma, and gave him the knowledge. That's how Shvetashvatara Upanishad says. And also, even in the Yoga Sutra, we find the reference to this. Sa purveshamapi guruhu kalena anavachhedat. Being not limited by the time, without a beginning and without an end, especially in this context, without a beginning, as Paramatman is without a beginning, so he has existed even before the creator and others, the Chaturmukha Brahma and others, and hence he is Guru Tama. The next term is Dhama. Couple of meanings or couple of interpretations are given to this term Dhama. Jyotihi. Dhama simply means light. So we have previously also seen that he is the true original source of light in the form of knowledge. Even all other sources of light derive their light from this Paramatman. So the pure source of light is Paramatman Dhama. Narayana Parojyotihi. Narayana himself is in the form of pure light, which has to be meditated upon in the heart. So in the Narayana Upanishad, which describes the meditative practice on Narayana, describes Narayana himself in the form of pure light, which has to be contemplated upon in the heart. The other meaning, other interpretation to the term Dhama is Sarva Kamanam Aspadatvadva Dhama, being the source of fulfillment of all desires. He is abode. So Dhama also means abode. So what is, for what is he the abode? Because he is the abode of all desires, in the sense that whatever desire one needs to get fulfilled, one salutes, one remembers, one surrenders to the Paramatman. We see in the Bhagavad Gita, Artaha, Jijnasuhu, Artharthi, Jnani cha Bharatarshabha, all kinds of devotees, be it requirement of material wealth, or be it overcoming ailments and suffering, or be it attaining the knowledge of Paramatman, or the knowledge about the reality, or be it only for bliss, which is done by the jnanis. So for all these, being the source of bliss, being the source of knowledge, being the source of overcoming sufferings, being the source of all material wealth and well-being, the Paramatman is called as the source or the abode of all desires. To this, the Vedas have lots of references in this regard. Param Brahma Parandhama. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad describes the Paramatman as the Parandhama, the ultimate abode in which all kinds of desires reside, by surrendering to whom all desires can be attained. Even in the Brahmanandavalli, we see that Brahmavidapnoti Param. Soshnute Sarvan Kaman Saha. All desires are attained by attaining or by realizing the Brahman. As Brahman is everything, by realizing Brahman, everything is realized. Hence, Paramatman or Parabrahma is described as the Dhama or the abode or the source of all desires, all happiness, all that one wants to attain in life. The fourth term is Satyaha. Even to this term, there are a couple of interpretations. Satyavachana dharma rupatvat Satyaha. Being of the nature of the value, speaking truth. The Lord itself, himself is truth. So, Satyavachana, speaking the truth, is an essential part of dharma. Satya Vachana is dharma rupatvat, because Satya Vachana, the following of the dharma Satya Vachana itself is the form of Paramatman. So speaking the truth, wherever truth is spoken, Paramatman is there. So even in the folk stories we hear Satyave Bhagavanta. So God himself is truth. So wherever in our worldly transactions, worldly interactions, we hold on to truth, it means divinity is with us. So Paramatman is not different from truthfulness in word, deed, and action. So that is one interpretation to the term Satya. Tasmaat Satyam Paramam Vadanti. Mahanarayana Upanishad says that the Paramatman or Satyam is the ultimate, and the ultimate is nothing but Paramatman. So the quality or the value of being truthful is Paramatman himself. The next interpretation to this term is Satyasya Satyamiti va, the truth of the truth. So we see that so many transactional truths are there. So as the substratum of all these transactional truths, there exists an absolute truth. So this Paramatman is that absolute truth which is the foundation of these transactional realities. So we see the body, we see the senses, we see the mind, we see the intellect, we see the prana. All these body, mind, sense complex exist. They are truth in one level. But to this truth, the ultimate substratum is the Paramatman. Hence, the substratum to the truth or the transactional truth is Paramatman. So, prana vai satyam, teshameva satyam. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad Vachana, it presents this meaning: the pranas, the uh, the uh, the vital force, in the form of prana, apana, vyana, samana, udana exists, and it powers the sense organs. So all these are truths, transactional truths, but to these transactional truths, tesham eva satyam, there is an absolute truth as a substratum, and that unchanging substratum of these transactional truths is Paramatman, and that is the meaning or the second interpretation to the term Satya. The fifth term is Satya Parakramaha. Satyaha Avitathaha Parakramaha Yasya Saha Satya Parakramaha. The one whose valor is unfailing. So here the term has Satya and Parakrama. Parakrama is valor and Satya is truth or unfailing. Avitatha, that which will not become false. So the one whose valor is real, unfailing. It's very interesting to note in Ramayana, Lakshmana and Meghanada, Indrajit, they are having an ultimate battle. So there the battle rages, and finally Lakshmana places an arrow in his bow and then utters the sentence or utters this shloka where he says Dharmatma Satyasandhascha Ramo Dasharathir युद्धे च अप्रतिद्वन्द्वः शर येनम रावणिम जहि. O arrow, I am placing you, and then uttering this statement. If Rama is a dharmatma, embodiment of dharma, Satyasandha, embodiment of truth, and then being the son of Dasharatha, in the lineage of Dasharatha, if he is the embodiment of truth, if he is the embodiment of dharma, and if he is unmatched, yuddhe cha apratidvandvaha. So that is can be connected with this verse Satya Parakramaha. So yuddhe cha apratidvandvaha. If it is truth that Rama is a dharmatma, if it is truth that Rama is a Satyasandha, and if it is a truth that Rama is unmatched, Rama's valor is unfailing, then, O arrow, kill Meghanada or kill Indrajit. So uttering this, Lakshmana releases the arrow, and that arrow puts an end to the life of Meghanada. So Paramatman, whose valor is unfailing in the various avatars that he has taken, is described or glorified as Satya Parakrama. And hence, by saluting to the Paramatman, he will come or he will protect the Dharmatmas, and he will be unfailing in his valor in removing the negativities. And so, with great devotion and great faith about the valor of the Paramatman, we shall surrender to Lord Narayana. Then the next term is Nimishaha. Nimilite yato netre yoga nidra ratasya ataha nimishaha. The one whose eyes are closed in the yogic trance. So he is Nimishaha. So Nimisha generally means the closed eyes or the closing of the eyelids. So the one whose eyelids are closed. Nidra mudram nikhila jagati rakshane jagarukam. So how do we see the Paramatman? He is in the Nidra mudra. So he is seated in the position or in his Ananta Shayana, in his recline of Adishesha, he is lying in a Nidra Sthiti, in a Yoga Nidra Sthiti. His eyes are closed. He is an embodiment of serenity. By looking at the Ananta Shayana, the Lord in a Nidra Mudra, the Nidra form, so immediately serenity descends in us. So, but even though he is seen as being in the Nidra, is he really sleeping? No. Nidra mudram nikhila jagati rakshane jagarukam. Elsewhere in a great poetry, it is mentioned that though his form or in his Ananta Shayana, he looks like asleep, but he is always alert. In what? Nikhila Jagati Rakshane Jagarukam. Jagaruka, he's very careful, he's very alert in the protection of the entire universe. Though he looks like asleep in the Nidra, he is eternally alert in his responsibility of protecting the universe. Hence, Bhagavan is described as Nimisha. The point here is, by looking at the Ananta Shayana form of Bhagavan, what we need to imbibe is the serenity. So when after getting up from a very good sound sleep, we feel refreshed and our mind is pleasant. So that kind of a pleasantness we should imbibe by looking at the Ananta Shayana Swarupa of Lord, and that is indicated by the term Nimishaha. The next term is Animishaha. Nitya Prabuddha Swarupatvat Animishaha. Being always in an enlightened state, in a state of awareness, the Lord is Animishaha. Means, so Nimisha means where the eyelids are closed. Here Animisha, where the eyes are open. So that is described here, where the eyes are open. So what does that indicate? It is indicating that he is always enlightened, he is always aware, he is always established in that pure awareness. So though he looks like, as was mentioned previously, he looks like asleep, he is actually animishaha, always aware, always prabuddha, always awake, always alert about the Satya Jnana Ananta Swarupa, and he is also awake, aware, and alert about the protection of the entire creation. So Bhagavan here, in by this term Animisha, is indicated as being always alert to protect his devotees, and it also indicates that at all times he is awake, in the sense at no time that the awareness of his true nature is clouded. The true nature of Satya Jnana Ananta Swarupa is never clouded. So he is alert and awake and aware in that sense also. There is a second interesting interpretation to the term Animisha. Matsya Rupatayava, Atma Rupatayava, Animishaha. Being endowed with the form of fish or of the Atman, the Lord is Animisha. So there is a living being which does not blink. It is the fish. So the non-blinking fish reminds of the Matsyavatara of Lord Narayana, and hence, so the fishes do not blink and hence are animisha, and that reminds the Matsyavatara. And animisha also refers to unchanging. See, when there is so animisha means non-blinking. So blinking refers to change. Animisha means non-blinking, non-changing. So hence he is Atman also. So the Atman is of a Satata Swarupa, in the sense Satata, he is always in the same unchanging nature. He has the same unchanging nature. Hence, the term Animisha can indicate the unblinking fish, hence Matsyavatara. The term Animisha also can indicate the unchanging nature, the unchanging nature in the form of Sachidananda Swarupa, maintaining eternal Sthira Swarupa, and hence the term Animisha is very rich in meaning, which indicates the Paramatman being alert or awake. The Paramatman's Matsyavatara is indicated. The Paramatman's unchanging Rupa form is also indicated. The eighth term is Sragvi. भूत तन्मात्र रूपां वैजयन्त्याख्यां स्रजं नित्यं भिवर्तीति स्रग्वी. Being always adorned by the garland called Vaijayanti, that is made up of the tanmatras of the five elements, he is called as Sragvi. Srak means garland. Sragvi means the one who wears the garland, or the one who is adorned by a garland. Normally, in the Saguna Rupa of Lord Narayana, we see that he has a garland, and that garland also has a special nomenclature that is called as Vaijayanti. Now, here a philosophical interpretation to that Vaijayanti Mala, Vaijayanti Srak is given. What exactly does that Vaijayanti Mala indicate? That Vaijayanti Mala, Acharya says, Bhuta Tanmatra Rupam Vaijayantyakhyam Srajam. So, the Vaijayanti Mala is nothing but the Tanmatras, which are the building blocks of the Pancha Mahabhutas, the five elements: Prithvi, Apaha, Tejaha, Vayuhu, Akasha. All these are the Pancha Bhutas, and for all these Pancha Mahabhutas, there are subtle building blocks, and they are called as tanmatras. So from these tanmatras, the atomic state of the elements, which is called as tanmatras, the manifest form of the elements in the form of earth, fire, water, space, and wind is seen. So the one who is the substratum, or the one who supports the bhuta tanmatras in the form of a garland called Vaijayanti, so he is Paramatman. The essence is that all the manifest creation, which is made up of five elements, are made up of subtle particles called tanmatras, and the tanmatras are the flowers in the garland, or the tanmatras are the components in the garland which adorn the Paramatman, which indicate that the Paramatman is the substratum of the subtle and gross universe. So wearing this as a garland, Paramatman is described as, Lord Narayana is described as Sragvi. Then the ninth term, Vachaspati Rudaradhihi. Vachaspatihi Udaradhihi. Both these terms together are taken to be one nama by Acharya. Acharya says, Vachaspati Rudaradhihi iti ekam nama. Vacho Vidyayaha Patihi Vachaspatihi Sarvartha Vishayadhihi Buddhihi Asya iti Udaradhihi. So the first sentence, as was mentioned at the outset, Vachaspati Rudaradhihi is one nama. Though they are two independent terms, they constitute one nama. How? Let us see in the explanation. Being the Lord of speech, knowledge, he is Vachaspati, the one whose intellect encompasses everything is Udaradhihi. Now let's take up the component of each of these words. Vachaspati, Pati, Lord. Vachaspati, Vak is speech. So the Lord of the speech is Vachaspati. What is expressed in the form of speech? Knowledge. So when we say the Lord of speech, it indicates that the Lord of knowledge also. But especially we see that the Bhagavan is the manifestation of knowledge in the form of speech. Previously, various namas they indicated in the commentary also that the Shruti, Smriti, all the words and sentences and injunctions in the form of Shrutis and Smritis are from the Paramatman. And hence, Paramatman is indicated as Vachaspati. And the second component here is Udaradhihi. Dhi means intellect, and Udara in general means very vast. So Udara Dhi means the one whose intellect is very vast, means that encompasses every knowledge. So the one whose intellect encompasses everything, who is Sarvajna. So he is Udaradhi and Vachaspati. See, knowledge is in the intellect, and the intellect of the Bhagavan here is described as the one that encompasses everything, that has within itself everything. And how is the intellect expressed? So whatever we think, how do we express? Normally it is by our speech. So who is the Lord of the speech also? So interestingly, Bhagavan here is glorified as the one who possesses a great intellect. Not only does he has a great intellect, but he is also the Lord of the speech. So by his great prowess in speech, he manifests that great intellect also. So intellect and speech are closely connected. All that we know is expressed through our speech. So being the Lord of speech and also knowledge, by saluting him, the devotees can attain a great prowess in intellect and also in speech. Vachaspatihi Udaradhihi. So with these namas in the 23rd verse, we have thus far completed 218 namas. Om Tat Sat. Shri Krishnarpanamastu.